I have him. It's fine. I have him.
Is he all right? I have his puffer here.
I'm fine. Gosh, that was like a whirlpool in those waves. My head was underwater and I was just spinning around.
There you go. Bring it all out.
Thank you for saving him, Robert.
Nothing to worry about, Mary.
What were you doing out there?
Sarah, we were just swimming from further up the beach. I found something. I hope I still have it. Anyway, there's this old cottage just up there in the sand dunes.
Yes, take a look up there. A couple 100 yards away. You might be able to see it.
Why, yes, I do see it.
Looks awfully run down.
I must say, it did a bit. It was rather like an old witch's cabin you might read about in children's books.
It has long been abandoned now. Excuse me. Might have been a fisherman's cottage. Anyway, I found this rather beautiful shell in front of the cottage in the sand.
That is beautiful. Look at all those colours. I can almost see my face in it.
I was thinking perhaps I could have a go at making a necklace for you when we returned home.
I say, who's that over there?
Over where?
Just down by the cottage. That old lady in dark clothing.
Oh, yes, I see her now.
Has she stopped?
Looks like we might have found the witch with the cottage.
Robert, don't be horrible.
What's she doing? Is she pointing at us?
It looks like she is.
Perhaps she's cursing us all.
Robert, don't be foolish.
She's lowered her hand now, but she's still standing there.
She's probably just looking at the ocean. Anyway, I say this about time we return to the bungalow. The sky looks to be threatening rain, and this wind is awfully chilly.
Quite right. Let's grab our towels and head back. Good morning.
Did you sleep well?
Not really. I had a strange feeling that something was off.
Douglas is dead!
What?
He's dead! He's dead!
The bed's all wet. Where's all this seaweed come from?
The Misadventures of Agnetha Deveaux, Episode 8, The Curse of the Beach Witch, written by Royce Pendergast.
I think we made good time today.
Yep, only arrived 20 minutes after the train timetable said we would.
Exactly, we made good time.
You're doing alright, Charlotte.
Hopefully I can unwind a bit today. Get over that whole kidnapping fiasco and take my mind off work for a few hours.
I'm sure Russ has a handle on things back at the tavern.
Oh, great! Now the piano's on fire!
He'll be fine, I'm sure.
And yet, there's a bathing suit store over there if you change your mind about going swimming.
I don't swim. I was born 4 kilometres above sea level. Sitting here on the beach will suit just fine. Ooh, they sell ice cream over there.
Who's that woman over there?
Which woman?
The lady in the purple dress.
Agnetha Deveaux! I thought it was you.
Oh my. Hello, Felicity.
How are you?
I'm well.
Oh, where are my manners? Allow me to introduce myself. Felicity Harisham. I met Agnetha and Termel on board the Oranguard Express to Ben Dixon Summit a few months ago. I read about you in Termel's stories. I'm Elsie, his fiancée. How charming. And you must be Charlotte.
That's me, hello.
What brings you all to the seaside today?
Just get away from the city for a day.
For a bit of relaxation, hopefully.
Oh, don't worry. I'll leave you all to that soon enough.
So, how about you?
Me? Oh, I live out here now.
Do you really?
That I do. Once we returned from Oranguard, following all that nasty murder business, I began to re-evaluate my life a little. There I was, still living at home with my father's fortune. I had wanted to get out of Harridon on that trip, you see. But I realised rather than throwing myself across the continent, I should start somewhere small and traded the countryside for the seaside.
Oh, yeah? You three go on.
Oh, I shan't keep you much longer.
It's fine, go on.
Well, moving out here, I found myself rather inspired by your actions on the train, and I decided I too would dedicate myself to solving mysteries much like you.
Huh.
I didn't go looking for it, of course. It's just that these mysteries began following me. Just days after moving out here to my cliff-top cottage, the local father was found murdered with his head buried among his geraniums. Now, with him being my neighbour and the police fumbling around trying to figure out what to do, I applied your methodology and reasoning to the case, and within a few days we had uncovered his stepsister had committed the crime.
Wow. That's, admittedly pretty impressive.
Well, I did learn it from you. I find it such a strange coincidence that you should arrive here in my village this morning of all mornings.
Really? Why's that?
There has been a rather suspicious death that occurred during the night. From what I've been told, it sounds rather like the work of the supernatural, something I myself haven't much knowledge or experience in. I was only heading over to where the body was found when I saw you and your friends exiting the train station, and I took that as a sign that you may be of assistance in this matter.
That I might be.
Everything alright?
Ah, yes. You guys enjoy your beach day. I'm off to solve a murder with Felicity.
Are you now?
What's happened?
She's off to investigate a death where there might be some magic cause involved. So I'll pop over there and be back in a little bit. Wow, Charlotte, you're fit.
Yes, I'm a dancer. I keep fit.
Those muscles. You're well hench.
Thanks.
Charlotte, Ev, hench, sure.
Hilarious.
But yeah, I'm off to see what's up. Late. So, what's the deal?
Yesterday morning, a group of 4 youths, 2 men and 2 women, travelled here and rented a small bungalow just off the beach. This morning, 3 of them woke to find the eldest in his bed, appearing to have drowned and covered in seaweed.
That sounds interesting.
From what I was told by the local constabulary this morning, when they stopped by to ask for my help, the other 3 made claims of witchcraft or other dark arts being responsible.
Dark arts. Makes me think of someone painting at night time.
Do you have any knowledge of the subject?
A little. I don't practice it though. I do perform spirit magic, so using that, I should be able to see if there's been some magical influence or where others have been. Is this the place up ahead?
Up ahead with all the police around it? Yes, that's the place.
Excellent. The detective's mind is always on the case. Ever observant, always activated.
And here is the senior officer, P.C. Molehill. Hello.
Ah, Miss Harrison. Glad you could make it. And who's this you brought with you?
This is Agnetha Deveaux, and she has knowledge in the arcane arts, and she's an investigator from Varadoon.
Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, detective, though you may be a little out of your jurisdiction here.
I'm a freelance detective, and you lot have no jurisdiction anyway. You're all part of the same branch, aren't you? Anyway, where's the body?
Oh, it's just through there, the first door on the left. We've taken statements from the witnesses. To the station now. The coroner will be by in a few minutes to take the body once you're done, Miss Deveaux.
It's Deveaux. Just through here.
Goodness me, he's blue.
Indeed he is. It does look like there were signs of a choking.
The bed is soaking wet. There's the seaweed. Goodness, the stench. It looks like it's been pushed aside.
Or by the witnesses when they discovered the body.
And there's a trail of it leading out the door.
There is. Small pieces, good catch. And the mat feels damp, leading from the door to here.
Curious. Would you mind sharing with us the witness statements, P.C. Molehill?
I certainly would, Miss Harrison. The deceased party is a Mr. Douglas Eric. His lady lover is Mary Ward. Joining them is Robert Baker and Sarah Tam. Miss Ward said she woke in the morning to find the seaweed covering Douglas's body, while Mr. Baker and Miss Tam slept in the room next door, and they were both standing by the hearth when Miss Ward made the discovery.
Well, something is going on. These spirit trails show a fair amount of movement from only 4 people over the last 2 days. I can tell one is Douglas, though his was snuffed out quite a few hours ago. And it does seem Mary slept in the other bed here. But there are too many trails, it's a mess. I can't really pick out what happened when. Douglas, it seems, has been drowned. On dry land, no less.
Leading to the cries of witchcraft.
Yeah, exactly. Although, I can't tell. I can't pick anything up. But I do know such a thing is possible. It's archaic magic. The type based around potions and animal sacrifice, real nasty stuff. Instead of just clicking your fingers and sparking a flame, there are legends of witches and curses that kill people and...
Sarah Tam did report that they all saw a strange old woman they claimed to be a witch down at the beach yesterday afternoon.
Really?
Yeah, they went down there for a swim for a few hours and stumbled upon an old shack in the sand dunes a couple of 100 metres down the beach. Then, as they left, a woman with grey hair and a black dress could be seen by them all, pointing their way.
Sounds like a very stereotypical witch. Pointing at them, you say?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, okay, there are tales like that.
I myself have heard such stories of old hags performing actions like that, casting a great curse upon the person they point to.
Yeah, maybe. Who left that bucket there? Ugh. Now, a witch's curse that's drowned a man in his sleep. I don't know. I'm just a little sceptical.
What makes you so skeptical?
A couple hundred years of magical stigma that leads people to jump into conclusions when something strange happens. We don't have all the facts. We'll need to speak to the witnesses themselves.
Excuse me. We have taken statement from all the witnesses already. I did read them out to you.
Yeah, but you didn't ask all the questions. Bring those 3 back here when they're done at the station. And take Douglas away. We need all the information we can get on this.
Yes, PC Molehill, you do that. So, did you find any hint of anything magical?
No, there's nothing. Sometimes there's a real trail. Evidence of something magical happening. Sometimes there isn't. And if this is some deep, dark kind of witchcraft, it's different from the type of magic I can do. Might not show up, but it might not even be magic at all. He's just drowned. There's water in his lungs. It's just as likely he was dragged from his bed, drowned in the waves, and hauled back and tucked in, draped in seaweed.
That's a rather horrible thing to imagine. What made you think of that? Oh, was it the damp trail leading out the door? It was, wasn't it?
That's the one. But it's just a guess.
To guess further, there could be other reasons for the trail. Something more probable. Hauling a body around would be difficult.
Trust me, it is. Especially at night.
So how about... I'm sorry?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Anyway, if it's not a body, something else. Say a bucket filled with seawater and seaweed, some of which still remains.
It could be.
So what do you think?
I think you may be onto something. It seems very likely, but there's an element to this case we still need to explore.
And what's that?
The witch herself, and her shack. I'm gonna take a wander down the beach, see if I can find something there. I think I can see a rooftop peering over the sand dunes. You stay here, wait for witnesses to return and question them.
Question them on what?
Ask them what they saw, or what they thought they saw. Talk to them individually. Take notes on everything. Listen not just to what they say, but how they say it. Compare it, find inconsistencies, compare the original statements, and you might find some holes. Got it?
Got it.
Well, this place has been abandoned a while.
Hello there.
Hello?
Come to have a look, have you?
There's no black dress, but she looks stereotypically witchy. A look at what? Sorry?
At this cottage? It used to belong to a man who worked on the lighthouse before that was moved up the coast. It was a fisherman's cottage for a while, but it's been long left behind.
Is it really?
The sand for the dunes wasn't good for the garden, so the cottage was surrounded by hundreds of potted plants from all over.
Do you live here? This is...
No, I live close by, but not anymore. I'm Ruth.
Agnetha.
I used to work here when I was younger, watering the plants, but they were all taken away a few years ago now. I believe a lot of them was transplanted into the village square's gardens, if I remember correctly.
What are you doing out here, Ruth?
I just come here when I need to get away from the home. You're not from there, I take it. I've not seen you around town. You must be a tourist.
Yeah, with the police in Varadoon.
They must be getting desperate if they're sending the police after me now. If they didn't want me to get out, they should have built their fences higher.
Careful. You do much fence hopping.
When I need to, always have. It keeps me active even at this age. Otherwise, I run out the front door, if it's unlocked.
The reason I'm here, Ruth, is because there's been a murder at one of the holiday houses.
Oh, has there really?
Yeah, rather nasty business. Some people, including the police, seem to think there's witchcraft involved.
Whatever would make them think that?
Witnesses said they saw what looked like an old witch hanging around that cottage yesterday afternoon.
That is peculiar. I was there during that time and I didn't see anything like that there at all.
Ruth, come away from that woman.
Oh, here comes that fool.
It's fine, sir.
I'm afraid not, ma'am. You're standing next to a fugitive.
If you didn't want me to climb over your fences, you should have built them higher.
Sorry, ma'am. I'm Dr. Smith. I work at the old person's retirement village down the beach. Ruth is one of our residents and she keeps escaping.
Yeah, she were just telling me that. She were just by the cottage in the sand dunes.
Yes, we've caught her coming here a few times.
Oh, hang on. It wasn't those young people on the beach yesterday afternoon, was it?
Sorry?
Yeah, there were 4 of them.
They thought I was some old wicked witch, did they?
It seems like they did a bit. They think they saw a witch point at them, put a curse on them, and now one of them is dead.
Good gosh!
What is it with these young people these days, letting their imaginations get the better of them? even in such a horrible situation like that. No, I was pointing out at the dolphins I saw in the distance, not casting any curses.
Come along, Ruth. Best let the woman be on her way. Thank you for finding her.
Yeah, seems the witnesses are back.
The witnesses are back?
That I can see.
Mary keeps on talking about a missing shell.
Sorry?
Are you the Varadoon detective?
Yeah.
Douglas, yesterday we were down at the beach and Douglas showed us this shell he found. He gave it to me, said he would make me a necklace from it. And when I woke up this morning and found him dead, it was gone from his bedside table. It was the size of my palm, grey on one side but with a rainbow within.
Not seen anything like that, sorry. We'll look too, but we're mostly looking to figure out who killed Douglas.
I have the notes for you, Agnetha. I did as you said, along with copies of their original police statements. They are inside if you wish to question them further.
Nah, looks alright. Good job. We'll head back to the village. The officers here will keep watch on the house.
I think we made quite a team.
Ah, do ya? What have we here then?
What did you find during your look around the old cottage?
Found our witch. Old woman escaped from her retirement home. She used to hang around there when she were younger and said she was pointing at dolphins in the waves. Nothing magic about her. But from a distance, she looks witchy enough.
So it appears there's no witchcraft involved at all?
It's looking less likely. Your bucket theory may hold water. These notes of yours are immaculately written. Your handwriting's lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Now, seems Mary has been thorough with her statements and consistent. Robert has given bare minimum both times. Sarah is hyperbolic, raving about a witch while Robert makes one mention about it. She also mentions this missing shell, saying Douglas found it by the cottage. Then the witch showed up, cursed them, and Douglas is dead the next morning.
Yes, Robert was like that in the interview. He seems to be in shock. It seems this shell is an important detail in this case.
Mary, she's a heavy sleeper.
Yes, she said it takes a lot to wake her. She suspects someone might have entered the room as she slept, and he either killed Douglas or stole the shell, although your magical sweep of the room earlier confirmed no one else had been in there.
No one but the four of them had been in that room.
Perhaps there was someone creeping around outside the house, or rather there was a noise outside which sounded like that. That an overactive imagination assumed was a witch.
Good guess, Flick. Mary says Douglas wasn't much of a swimmer. Ah, there's my mates. I'm off to go talk with them.
You're leaving?
Just to talk to me mates, yeah.
But there's a murder investigation ongoing.
Oh yeah, so there is. Look, you take those statements there to your PC Rattle.
PC Molehill?
Yeah, 'cause that's a sensible name. Take them to him and have a think about it. You're on the right track, I'm sure. You might find an answer.
But you're not going to help me.
I'm helping you to figure it out for yourself. The truth is in those notes. You just need to find them.
Are they? What do you mean? Agnetha!
Hi there.
Mate, can I get me an ice cream cone, please?
Sure can. What flavor can I get you?
What you got?
Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, pistachio, rose, caramel?
Give me the rose one. Ta. Nice doggy.
Oh, thank you. You're that Agnetha Deveaux from the paper, aren't you? Thought I recognized you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
7p.
There you go, keep the change. Bye, doggy.
Hope you enjoy it.
Thanks a lot.
How's the investigation going?
Yeah, I think I might have cracked it. Just waiting for Felicity to get to it before we speak to the witnesses and get to the bottom of it.
Is that really wise?
I trust you have a pretty good idea of what's going on then.
Well, the witch is just an escapee from a retirement home, not a witch, so I'll say that much.
There was a witch involved? Hang on, what's the story?
A man drowned in his bed. His friends reckon some witch cursed him for stealing a shiny seashell. Only, the witch is just an old lady. The seashell's missing, but most importantly, a man was found drowned on dry land.
So you think you know what happened?
Felicity and I started to come up with a reasonable solution. I think I've cracked it. I'm just waiting to see if she comes to the same conclusion or a different one.
What's it like to work with her? I did hear she'd moved away from the city after the Orangard Express murder.
She's a bit different, actually. A bit more grown up, and she seems to have a firm grasp of what's going on. She picked up a few pieces of evidence even I missed at first. Looks like she's put the whole Tony thing behind her.
Well, that's good she did. And I mean Tony of all people.
Do you think you have a new work partner, Agnetha?
She's alright, sure. 5 mil.
Maybe she can fill in when we're off on the honeymoon. Agnetha, I believe we may now be on the same page.
Are we?
Would I be correct in saying it's related to Douglas's poor swimming ability?
Yep, I'd say we are too. Back soon, you lot. Are all the suspects assembled?
The witnesses are assembled, yes.
Same diff.
Everyone, this here is Agnetha Deveaux. She's an investigator from Varadune.
Robert, your statement was rather short. Why was that?
I just said what I saw, which wasn't much. I saw an old woman, the witch, on the beach after Douglas was dumped by the waves. Then we come home and next morning he's dead.
I think we'll refrain from calling it that from now on. The witch is just an old lady.
What do you mean, no witch? I saw her.
Sarah, is it?
Yes.
On the beach?
Yes. But also creeping about our house at night.
Really? Well, it seems you failed to mention that in your earlier statements.
No, I didn't.
You did, I'm afraid, Miss Tam. You made no mention of seeing anyone at night.
This missing seashell, it was on the bedside table?
Yeah, I saw it on there last night next to his inhaler when we went to bed.
If not by witchcraft, then what killed him? How's he drowned in his bed overnight? And what has this seashell got to do with anything?
Douglas wasn't a very strong swimmer, was he, Mary?
No.
And had breathing problems. Here we all are, coming up with theories that this was down to magic, or someone had dragged Douglas out of his bed to the beach to drown him, to then place him back, when the correct answer was the simplest one, staring us all in the face. Douglas inhaled water yesterday when he was knocked over by the waves, the salt water burning his lungs and windpipe, and although he'd coughed it up, it was this irritation combined with existing issues that caused him to unfortunately choke to death, or drown if you would prefer, in his bed overnight.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Ask any halfway decent medical professional, especially any living by the sea, and they should know that water in the lungs can do that. I was raised in the mountainous north, where the nearest water was Island Lake, but even I'd heard of this. It's just all this nonsense talk of black magic that's confused matters and prevented the truth coming to light sooner. Not made any easier by Sarah's tampering.
Me?
I'm just going to hazard a guess that you crept into Mary and Douglas's room last night to either pinch that seashell or give it a look over, only to notice Douglas drowned in his bed. Did you then creep out of the house, drag some seaweed and seawater in there using the bucket by the door, and paint the scene to fit your narrative?
How did you know?
These old spirit trails again showed you entering the room a few times more recently than Robert had, which was when he popped in to say goodnight before he went to bed. And there were some seaweed remains in the bucket left outside.
I knew it was the witch. Why else would Douglas, a healthy young man, have died during the night?
Well, there wasn't a witch. I just told you why. Douglas wasn't all that healthy with that breathing problem.
Well, I know that now, but no one would believe me otherwise.
Of course no one would. The story was far too outlandish. The question does remain, Agnetha, what happens now?
Well, the witch hunt is called off. Douglas, unfortunately passed, is given the send-off he deserves. And I'd say it's up to PC Molehill to decide how much Sarah is to be reprimanded for wasting police time.
And our time too.
Nah, I thought it was a bit of a laugh. But maybe I could spend the rest of the day actually relaxing for a bit before we have to make a mad rush back home to the city. I'll leave this in your very capable hands, Constable.
Right you are, ladies. Thank you all for your help.
So that was rather fun, wasn't it? A team-up between the master and the apprentice.
Indeed, you have taught me well.
I think I still have much to learn. The cases I solved before were all down to the people involved. I know people. I can usually recognize relationships between them, how they treat or talk about one another. It's what made me realize the truth behind the father's murder. I think the supposed magic element of this one put me on the back foot, but once we established that as false, when you reminded me to compare the notes, the lies began to surface.
It's tricky. You gotta keep a level head on top of the observation, which you were on the ball with. Look at the crime as if you know nothing about it. See what it presents, and get what you can from that. Then compare it to the other information. Don't take their words straight away.
So where did you learn all of this?
Crime novels. Lots of them. And being in the criminal underworld, which I will admit, I did dabble in a little in my youth. You learn why things happen the way they do. On top of that, it's determination, I guess. I don't know. Why'd you get in this line of work?
Why'd you ask?
Last we met, you didn't seem the type. Former university student, studying literature. I mean, that's the arts. It doesn't really lend itself to this. Although the standard for guards in Varadune aren't exactly calling for geniuses. You've not exactly taken the direction I thought you would.
And what direction would that be?
I shan't say, it sounds too rude.
Well, it suits me for the time being, like travelling in university used to. Much like you, I've always loved crime fiction. G. Clarissa is one of my favourites. Her works are second to none. Even if someone wrote a similar mystery, she always wrote it better. Perhaps I got swept up in her narratives and felt I could have a crack at it myself, especially after seeing you handle Tony's murder so well.
So I am inspiring some good in the world. That's encouraging, considering everything else that's been going on.
What's that?
Long story short, I made a decision a few years ago that ended up hurting a few people. A lot of people, really. Some of them were my friends. That's what today's trip to the seaside is for, to kind of make it up to them. Charlotte was kidnapped by some gangster, and the tavern's been closed for a few weeks because of it.
Goodness me, is she all right?
Much better now, yeah. I hope. It weren't intentional. They just got caught up in it. Bunch of knobs trying to get at me through them.
So long as they know you're sorry. They do know that, right?
They do, and they've forgiven me, but still, the bad feelings linger. But like I said, it's encouraging to know that some good is coming out of my actions. If you're enjoying it, keep at it. You might be the hero of your own crime novel series one day.
You think so? Perhaps I could even write my own stories. Put that literature study to a good use. Maybe that would be a little narcissistic. Perhaps I could write yours. Any idea for a title?
The Misadventures of Agnetha Deveaux. Starring Liz Corrick as Agnetha, Holly Gregg as Felicity and Elsie, Marie Butler Cole as Charlotte, Royce Pendergast as Termel, Diane Smith as Ruth, Keith Wiggins as PC Molehill, Aaron Beck as the Doctor, Matt Harris as Douglas, Jacqueline Morrison as Sarah, and JT Hodgetts as Robert, the ice cream salesman. Theme music copyright of Matt Harris and Kevin MacLeod. Produced by City Park Radio, Bent Ear Records, and Rabbit Dog Productions 2018.